This patient was referred to me for endodontic retreatment of tooth number 19. According to the patient, the root canal was done by an endodontist about a year ago. Patient says after the root canal, tooth never felt the same. He continued to have issues, problems, symptoms with the tooth, went back and saw the endodontist a couple of times, and he was told to give things some time, give things some time, give things some time. And he said he's been suffering for a year and finally decided to come see me instead of going back to that endodontist. One look at the tooth, I can immediately tell that there is a periapical relucency there. So I'm not sure why the endodontist couldn't see that, the endodontist who did the root canal, but actually I do know. It's called cognitive dissonance, and that's when you don't see your own mistakes. We're all guilty of it. I've done it too. It happens to me as well, I'm sure. But that's why we need to pay attention to these things and be able to set aside our prejudices and be able to see our own mistakes. But here it is, periapical relucency. I asked the patient what was the reason for the root canal. Patient said the tooth was temperature sensitive, so that's why it needed a root canal. Temperature sensitivity tells me that the tooth was still vital. Vital means that there was no infection, so this infection started after the root canal. Okay, so that's how you investigate things and put things together. Anyways, CEREC crown. So today we went through the CEREC crown, removed the buildup material, removed the gutta percha. I used chloroform and stainless steel K hand files. And as soon as I removed the gutta percha from the distal canal, there was perioral discharge. All right, so let's take a look at the post-op together now. And here's the post-op. As you can see, everything went beautifully. I actually got discharge, perioral discharge from the distal canal. When I removed the gutta percha, discharge came up from the distal canal, irrigated, of course, with 6% sodium hypochlorite, thoroughly and copiously, activated sonically, and obturated the mesials with gutta percha and sealer. Because of the fact that I got discharge from the distal, I felt more comfortable putting an MTA plug there. So I placed an MTA plug there, followed by gutta percha and sealer, temporized the tooth, and referred the patient back to his dentist for the permanent restoration. In cases such as this, I always tell the patient, don't get a new crown yet. I don't want you to spend any money on this tooth right now. Just have my temporary filling replaced immediately with a permanent filling, and let's just give things some time. Let's just wait on this. Let's give things some time. And patient agreed, and hopefully he'll come back in 6 months for a post-op check. But this is the post-op. Let me show you a different angulation. This is another angulation, but you can see that that 90-degree curvature of the distal canal, I was able to obturate even that with MTA. You can see that right there. And you can see, lo and behold, there is a periapical relucency there. So that's my MTA right there. The term I was looking for is cognitive dissonance, when we don't see our own mistakes. Cognitive dissonance. And we all suffer from it. So did this endodontist who couldn't see the periapical relucency there. Again, I'm guilty of it as well, very likely. But as I said, everything went beautifully, as you can see. People often ask me how I remove the gutta percha. I remove the gutta percha. I fill the pulp chamber with chloroform, let it sit there for a minute, and then I use my stainless steel K hand files, and I just remove the gutta percha that way. And once I remove all the gutta percha, then I get my working length measurements, and then start with I use isopropyl alcohol 70 to 90%. It When I use isopropyl alcohol, I can remove the remnants, gutta percha remnants easier. It clogs it up. It clogs up the gutta percha chloroform mixture, and then I can remove it in bits and pieces and bulks sometimes. And then once I remove the gutta percha, then I start with copious amounts of 6% sodium hypochlorite that I use throughout the procedure, recapitulation after each instrumentation, just to make sure that I am patent, all the canals are patent, I maintain patency throughout the root canal procedure. And again, you just need to know when to use certain materials, such as like this case here, I decided to use MTA versus gutta percha. MTA gives me a better apical seal, especially since I had discharge. Discharge stopped, but I just wanted to make sure that I get a good apical seal, and you get a much better apical seal when you use MTA versus gutta percha. I use my sealer is AH plus, and I use warm vertical obturation technique for obturating.